Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to get into putting in the front bumper on the Camaro. Also, I'm going to install the headlights. I got an LED upgrade there, and I got some interesting turn signals that I'm going to be putting on this thing as well. So let's just jump right into that, and I'll show you guys what I got going on. So these are my turn signals that I got that are going to be in the front bumper. These are actually vented, and they're made by a company called Starbuck Innovations. Now, these are switchbacks, so they'll be white when I got running lights on, and they should go amber for my signals. But my issue that I was having with my lights were I changed my gauge cluster, and it took me a while to figure out that that was my issue. I had to do a lot of searching on the internet, and I found somebody who swapped to an aftermarket gauge panel like me, and he had issues with his LEDs no longer working. And what he said he had to do was he had to put a resistor in line, which I did, and that helped one part. But then I also had to swap my marker light LEDs to non-polar ones, where my original ones, which were name brand Dynamics, which is a great product, is polar specific, so it wouldn't work. Turn these on. As you can see, with the running lights off, everything functions normal. Well, actually, let's put the dial dynamic one in there. As you can see, one way it doesn't work. The other way, it works and it functions normally. But the moment I turn my running lights on, or headlights, now the running light doesn't work anymore. So I swap it around, it then functions, but it causes my switchback to go to a solid amber. So to fix that, that's where the resistor comes in. By the way, guys, if you're ever testing wires and you don't have anywhere to, back probe them or whatever, you get yourself some sewing needles or some safety pins. You just make a small little hole in the insulation, and you should be fine. Won't cause that much damage. Now I'll take my resistor. And the resistor causes it to go normal. Which is all good, but if you remember, since this is polar specific, now it's no longer working. So what I had to do was I swapped these out to a non-polar specific LED, which, as you can see, it works that way. Now spin it 180. It works that way as well. That's the name brand of the LEDs I got. Now that's functioning. Now, given the issue with the resistor, once I turn the headlights or the running lights on, which they are now, then I put the resistor in line, and we're back to normal. I turn the running lights off. Now I'll kill my signal. And we turn the running lights on with no signal. And again, with the resistor, it'll cause the running light to turn on and correct the signal light in the bumper. Just thought I'd share that in case anyone else was having problems, because This was actually driving me nuts. I have the proper LED flashers with the grounds, and I purchased all this from, third gen specific suppliers, and it does work on a factory third gen that's not modified. Unfortunately, my car is quite modified, so that's where my issues came about. But pretty much now that I got this all solved up, now I'm gonna have to split my insulation, and I am gonna have to add these resistors in line, and that will take care of my issue here. But let's get back to the star of the show here, which is the front bumper that we're going to be installing. And first, before I start assembling it, what's an IROC without blacked out headlight buckets? So we're going to paint these black. I'm going to scuff them up, shoot them with some trim black. But I'll also show you guys a little trick to mask this off. Normally you would want to use fine line tape. I don't really want to buy fine line tape because this is the only thing I need it for, and it doesn't make sense for me. So here's a little budget tip I got. You take yourself some electrical tape, find yourself a roll, obviously, that you don't care too much about, and then just cut the sucker in half. Now it's thinner, and it'll bend these corners a lot better. You got yourself some cheap electrical tape. Now I'm just going to hit this with some 600. Just lightly scuff it. Honestly, wish I had a pad. I'm going to use my hand. I'm going to use the palm of my hand. Don't want to use my fingers, because if I were to use my fingers, see that? Those are my finger marks. If I use my palm, it's flatter. So these are the headlights that I'm running on the car. There's nothing special to them. I got them from Amazon. They got these halos on them that I'm going to hook up for my running lights. And then you just got your normal low high beam. They are LED. And I got my vented turn signals installed, and they look really good, especially going against the black headlight buckets. So I got to get this bumper flipped around. We got to get the front headlight bar installed in the bumper. I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown. I had to make 3 Y taps, one for the running lights, one for the signal, and one for the high beam. You can see here the one for the high beam is plugged in the socket, and then both high beam wires from each light tie in. Grab my light, show you guys what I got going on underneath. So I mounted my heat sink for the fog light. There's the one for the signal. There's my T-taps, one end into the resistor there. Here's my turn signal Y. One side goes to the halo for the turn signal on the headlight. The other side goes into the resistor. Now the third one for the running lights is right there. And that just Ys to each light. So now we're going to get this side taken care of, and then I'll show you guys how they're working out. Well, one thing I noticed while working under here, I got a leak. And it appears to be the seal right behind the pinion. So it looks like I'm going to have to rebuild my power steering box. So if you guys want to see a video on that, let me know. Well, it's the next day. It's a pretty good day outside, so I got the door open. We got the lights all finished up last night, and I put the car fully in the air. I raised the rear end up, and I started it up just to verify 100% about the steering box. And yes, it is leaking at the pitman arm seal. So unfortunately, I have to tear that sucker out and rebuild it. Problem is, the way I got it put in, I might have to take my radiator out, but that's right up on there. The way these fans fit, I actually had to cut, modify, and notch around the steering box. Another thing that, unfortunately, when I started it up and got it running, you can see that there's some coolant. The intercooler pump is leaking. And it's not leaking at any of my hose connections. It's leaking in here. So now, unfortunately, I think the pump is gone. This car is fighting me, and I really want to get this thing done because I'm trying to get the bird in here, but I don't know. These unexpected surprises keep coming in. It's going to be a while. But anyways, we're going to have to get a new pump. I'm going to verify 100% before I do that. But for sure, we're going to be rebuilding that steering box because I don't want to buy a new one. Plus, that is an IROC box, so it's a close ratio. But let me show you guys how these lights came out. Pull the fuse for the water pump. And check that out. My front signal. We got our running lights. Got the switchbacks working properly. Got our headlights, our high beams, and the side marker lights are working in the mix as well. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the bumper install. I do got a few more things I need to do. This hood needs to come forward about 1/4 inch. You can see it right there. The top of the bumper I still need to work on aligning. And the problem why I got the hood so far back out of whack is the paint shop that I had to do this car, my hood points were filed down. So it was hard for me to pinpoint exactly how far back. But, I mean, you win some, you lose some, right? Anyways, we'll get the hood moved forward. we'll dial in. The front of the bumper is still a little bit loose. I left that for some adjustment there because I knew I had to work on fitting this front part, but we got our lights working. We got our bumper fully installed. Unfortunately, we found a couple problems along the way, but we're going to take care of them and get them knocked out. Once again, guys, I want to thank you for watching, and I appreciate all of you, and hope to see you on the next one.